President Trump's trip to the West Coast. Yesterday, the president popped into California to host some fundraisers, talk about housing issues, and stock up on edibles. But easily the highlight of his trip was getting to visit his favorite child, the border wall.
President Trump took time from a fundraising trip to visit a chunk of border wall in Otay Mesa, California. He met with several construction workers and was invited to sign the wall, which he did with a Sharpie. He boasted about the wall, calling it the Rolls-Royce of border barriers.
It's designed to absorb heat, so it's extremely hot. The wall is, you won't be able to touch it. So if they're going to climb it, they're going to have to bring hoses and water, and we don't know where they're going to hook it up because there's not a lot of water out here. If you think you're going to cut it with a blowtorch, that doesn't work because you hit concrete. This wall can't be climbed. This is very, very hard. We had 20 mountain climbers. That's all they do. They love to climb mountains. And this was the one that was hardest to climb.
And so begins season 1 of Mexican Ninja Warrior. I will say, if you forget the xenophobia and all of the racism, it's pretty cute how excited Trump gets about his wall, right? He reminds me of little kids bragging about what they've built out of Lego. Have you ever seen them? You know, they'd be like, it's super strong, and this is for the policemen, and they can't break it, and this one shoots the lasers, and there's a booby trap for when the Mexicans come. It's also funny how Trump signed the wall with a Sharpie. Like, he's worried we're not going to know who built it. Like, this man is so insecure. No other president physically signs their accomplishments. Like Abraham Lincoln didn't go up to the slaves like, you're free. Now hold still, hold still. There you go. Now, the problem for Trump is that sometimes his enthusiasm actually gets him in trouble because he gets carried away and he says secrets that he's not supposed to.
One thing we haven't mentioned is technology. They're wired so that we will know if somebody's trying to break through, and you may want to discuss that a little bit, General.
Sir, there could be some merit in not discussing that.
Okay? I like that. That was a great answer. I'll just tell you they're wired, okay? They're wired.
Again! Tell me that's not adorable. Trump is so excited about the wall that people have to stop him from explaining its weaknesses. It's like, there's a door that opens. If you cut the wire right here, you cut the right way. But we won't tell them it's the red one. We won't tell them. And kudos to that guard. This is so slick. There could be some merit in not discussing that, sir. That is the nicest way I've ever heard someone say, shut the up. That's what that was. We should all start using that, right? Yeah, next time you tell your boss that you missed work for a funeral and your coworker's like, but you said you were at the beach. You could be like, there could be some merit in not discussing that, Bob. All right, let's move on to an alarming new report about air travel.
If you have a flight coming up, you may want to be careful about what you drink, because a new study looked at the water safety from a dozen major airlines, and those airlines with the cleanest water are Alaska Airlines, Allegiant, Hawaiian Air, Frontier, and Southwest. While the dirtiest water is found on board Delta, American, United, JetBlue, and Spirit Airlines. That might surprise you, right? The study suggests sticking with bottled water on planes and avoiding the coffee and tea. You can also use hand sanitizer instead of washing your hands in the bathroom.
Yes. Turns out if you've been drinking water on a plane, your bowels may be in danger. And honestly, this was surprising to me, because I always knew that the water in the bathroom wasn't for drinking, right? You use that to wash your feet. But I didn't know that the water they serve you can also be dirty. Like, how does it get that bad? Like, do they take the hot towels from business class and squeeze the water into cups for economy? Is that what they do? You're just like, what does that taste? Sir, that is the taste of success. And that list was pretty interesting as well. You've got Alaskan at the top, and then all the way at the bottom is Spirit Airlines. And I know some people think Spirit should be ashamed that they're number 10, but to be honest, I was impressed that they have water on their flights. Yeah, normally the only refreshments on Spirit are your own tears of regret. Spirit Airlines, our water has the least of your problems. And finally, tomorrow is September 20th, the big day when everyone is supposed to raid Area 51. And although this thing just started out as a joke, it turns out they might actually find something.
The U.S. Navy now confirms UFO videos made public by the New York Times and a UFO research group back in 2017 are the real deal.
Images of that rotating thing captured by U.S. Navy aircraft. sensors locking in on the target. Commander David Fravor saw it firsthand during a training mission, describing it like a 40-foot-long tic-tac.
The ability to hover over the water and then start a vertical climb from basically zero up towards about 12,000 feet and then accelerate in less than 2 seconds and disappear is something I had never seen in my life.
The Navy says it still doesn't know what the objects are, and officials aren't speculating.
Holy shit. I hope that's a UFO, because if it's a giant tic-tac, that's even creepier. What, a giant tic-tac just flying around the sky? But you guys understand what's happening here? The US government is officially confirming, that in 2017, the Navy saw a UFO. And I really hope it isn't aliens, because it would be a really bad time for them to visit Earth. Yeah, can you imagine? They'll land and be like, take us to your leader. And we'll be like, sorry, he's signing a wall right now?